What if the saddest character on TV was a talking horse? BoJack Horseman isn't just some cartoon for depressed millennials. It might be one of the most brutally honest portrayals of what it feels like to be stuck in your own self-destruction. Why do we root for someone who keeps screwing up? Why does his pain feel so real, even when he's animated? Why do we feel seen when he spirals? And why does this show make people say, "That episode ruined me for days"? Today, we're diving into the tragic life of BoJack Horseman. Not just the mess-ups, but the why behind them. The patterns he can't break, the pain he hides, the moments that punch you in the chest because they feel way too familiar. By the end of this video, you might realize you were never watching a show about a horse. You were watching one about yourself. When BoJack Horseman first dropped on Netflix, a lot of people thought it was just another adult cartoon. You know, some goofy show with talking animals and one-liners. But then, something shifted. Beneath the puns and bright colors was this washed-up 90s sitcom star, living in a massive house in the Hollywood Hills, completely hollow inside. BoJack wasn't just failing, he was actively tearing himself apart. And we got a front-row seat. He wasn't the typical animated lead. He wasn't even the classic lovable loser. He was bitter, lonely, selfish, and somehow painfully familiar. BoJack represents a very specific kind of pain, the kind that creeps up on you when the applause stops. He had fame, money, even a catchphrase, but none of it ever filled the hole inside, and he knows it. That's the killer part. He's the guy who knows what's right, and still does the wrong thing, who begs for love, then pushes people away, who wants to be better, but keeps doing worse. That tension, that's what makes him so real, so tragic. We're used to animated characters being exaggerated, simple, but BoJack isn't. He's messy, petty, depressed, a mix of charm and toxicity that's hard to look away from. And that's the genius of the show. It hooks you with a goofy premise, then quietly dismantles your emotional walls. It doesn't yell, "Feel this." It whispers, "This is you." From the outside, BoJack's life looks like a dream. He starred in a hit sitcom, lives in a Hollywood mansion, has millions in the bank, and still gets recognized on the street. That's what we're taught to chase: fame, wealth, legacy. But for BoJack, all of it feels hollow. That's the illusion of success, the lie that if you just achieve enough, the pain will stop. For BoJack, success wasn't salvation. It was a mask. And the moment the camera stopped rolling, the emptiness hit even harder. He peaked in the 90s. Everything after that, desperation. He clings to relevance, taking roles he doesn't believe in, writing a tell-all memoir, chasing awards, not because he loves any of it, but because he's terrified of being forgotten. And when he finally gets what he thinks he wants, the secretariat role, critical praise, a comeback, it doesn't heal anything. He's still anxious, still drinking, still alone, because success doesn't fix you. It just turns up the volume on whatever's already broken. BoJack believes if he's successful enough, maybe he'll finally be lovable. Maybe he'll deserve happiness. But it never works that way. How many of us think, if I just get there, just one more win, one more goal, then I'll feel okay? And how many of us are left staring at the ceiling, wondering why we still feel empty? BoJack shows us that the finish line we imagine might be a mirage, and chasing it without dealing with who we are inside, that's a recipe for disaster. If you really want to understand BoJack, don't look at his fame or his fortune. Look at the people closest to him. His relationships aren't just messy, they're mirrors. They reflect the parts of him he tries hardest to hide. Take Diane Nguyen. She's smart, principled, and one of the few people who actually sees through BoJack's nonsense. She wants to believe in him. She wants him to be better, but every time she reaches out, he lets her down. Their friendship is complicated, not toxic exactly, but exhausting. She's not just hurt by BoJack, she's worn out by the cycle. Then there's Princess Carolyn. She's his ex, his agent, and probably the person who enables him the most. She spends years cleaning up his messes, believing in him even when he doesn't believe in himself. But even she reaches a breaking point. Loving BoJack costs her more than she ever admits. And Todd might seem like comic relief, but he's BoJack's moral compass. He forgives, he listens. And when even Todd walks away, you know BoJack has burned every last bridge. But the relationship that defines his lowest point, Sarah Lynn. She was a child star who adored BoJack. He was her idol, and instead of protecting her, he partied with her, enabled her, ignored her cries for help. Her death wasn't just a tragedy, it was a consequence. A moment that shows how BoJack's damage doesn't stop with him. It spreads. BoJack doesn't set out to ruin lives, but he does, again and again. And maybe the saddest part is, he knows it. BoJack's biggest enemy isn't Hollywood or fame or even his toxic relationships. It's himself. He's locked in a constant war between who he is and who he wishes he could be. He wants to be better, truly, but deep down, he doesn't believe he's capable of it. And that voice in his head, the one that says he's a fraud, a burden, a failure, that voice always wins. And to understand why, you have to look at where he came from. BoJack's childhood wasn't just rough, it was emotionally devastating. His father was distant, chasing his own literary dreams and resenting BoJack for existing. His mother, Beatrice, was cold and cruel, never offering love without strings. Every achievement was met with indifference. Every failure confirmed their disappointment. So, BoJack learned early on, love is conditional, and you don't deserve it unless you earn it. That belief, it follows him into adulthood like a shadow. And here's the tragic part. He knows he's messed up. He even tries to be better. He goes to rehab, he opens up, he apologizes, genuinely. But guilt sticks, and every time he takes a step forward, his past pulls him 2 steps back. He ruins good things not because he wants to, but because he doesn't believe he deserves them. The war BoJack fights isn't flashy. There's no big villain, no climactic showdown. It's internal, it's daily, and it's relentless. The belief that he's broken beyond repair, that's what really haunts him. And the longer he listens to that voice, the more it becomes his truth. For most characters in fiction, rock bottom is a single moment, a dramatic crash that turns everything around. But for BoJack, it happens again and again. Every time you think he's finally hit his lowest point, he finds a new floor. One of the most brutal examples, Sarah Lynn. They're on a bender. Weeks of substance abuse, spiraling together, both looking for something to numb the pain. BoJack knows she's fragile. He knows she's in danger. But when she collapses, he doesn't call for help. He waits. And by the time he does, it's too late. She dies in a planetarium, high and alone, with BoJack sitting right next to her. That moment changes everything. But it's not the end of his spiral. There's also the Penny Carson incident, a teenage girl whose life he almost derails. He walks right up to a line, and while he doesn't cross it, he gets horrifyingly close. That scene is deeply uncomfortable for a reason. It's meant to be. And then there's The View from Halfway Down, that surreal, haunting episode where BoJack faces his mortality, hallucinating his own death after overdosing in his old home. It's poetic, terrifying, and gut-wrenching. These aren't just dramatic plot points. They're symptoms of a deeper truth. BoJack doesn't just fall once. He builds his life around falling, slowly, painfully, and often with others getting hurt on the way down. Because when you never deal with your damage, it becomes your entire identity. After everything BoJack's done, every lie, every betrayal, every person he's hurt, it's natural to ask, does he even deserve redemption? And that's the question the show never fully answers. Because BoJack does try. He goes to rehab. He starts teaching. He tries to live a quieter, more honest life. For a moment, it feels like maybe, just maybe, he's finally on the right track. But the past doesn't disappear, especially not when it's been buried instead of owned. When his darkest moments resurface, Sarah Lynn's death, the Penny situation, he's forced to confront the truth. Recovery doesn't erase consequences. People were hurt, some of them irreparably, and no amount of self-work guarantees forgiveness. What makes the final season so powerful is its refusal to give us a clean resolution. There's no dramatic redemption arc, no sweeping apology that fixes everything. BoJack doesn't get back on TV. He doesn't rekindle old relationships. He simply keeps living. And maybe that's the most honest ending possible, because real change isn't cinematic. It's slow, uncomfortable, and filled with backslides. It's not about erasing the past. It's about carrying it, learning from it, and doing better moving forward. When BoJack sits on that rooftop with Diane in the final episode, there's no false hope, just a quiet, bittersweet acceptance. They talk, they reflect, and then the scene fades to black. Is BoJack redeemed? Maybe not. But he's still here. And sometimes that's the most anyone can ask for. And here's the thing. BoJack's story challenges how we think about forgiveness. Not everyone gets a clean slate. And sometimes the people you've hurt don't want closure. They just want distance. That doesn't mean you stop trying. It means you try without expecting applause, without expecting a prize. It means accepting that change might only matter to the person doing it. BoJack might never be forgiven. He might never fix what he broke. But the fact that he keeps trying, day after day, is its own quiet kind of courage. BoJack Horseman isn't just a show about depression, addiction, or trauma. It's a show about the exhausting daily effort of trying to be better, and the damage left behind when we fail. It's hard to watch sometimes because it forces us to sit with uncomfortable truths, that we've all made mistakes, hurt people we cared about, or pushed love away when we needed it most. But that's also what makes it beautiful, because it reminds us that even broken people can grow, that even if you've messed up your past, you still have a future. If you're still watching, chances are this show meant something to you too. If this hit home, hit that like button, subscribe, and let me know what moment from BoJack hit you the hardest.